the deep recesses of one's mind, there is a voice, a guiding light through the darkness, a connection to the other side.
You're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just a poor little me.
A pathway to spiritual that echoes with enlightenment. The voice of spirit.
The voice of spirit.
You are a function of this total galaxy, bounded by the Milky Way, and that furthermore, this galaxy is a function of all other galaxies.
Your journey starts here and now. With your host and connection to spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Hi, welcome to Kcor Radio, the voice of spirit, Leo Bonomo. Hopefully you can hear me. I am having a problem with the connection at the moment, unfortunately, but hopefully we can manage to get through the show. So I do apologise sincerely for being late, only the connection dropped, such is technology. I have a lovely friend on this evening called Keely, and Katie's going to tell us a little bit about her background.
Okay, hello everybody out there in America. How lovely to speak to you. This is Katie, and I'm actually calling from a place called Blackpool, which is just above Manchester, which is above London, for all those that know London. And I'm going to be carrying the show until Leo comes on. How was your Valentine's Day? Now, Valentine's Day, astrologically and numerologically, was a little bit hit and miss. So it was a day of endings. The moon was in Aquarius. When the moon is in Aquarius, it can cut off. So anybody emotionally having a bad time on a day of endings may have felt that they were at the end of their relationship. And there was a lot of relationships ending. But today, we've got a new moon. It's in Aquarius. We've actually got a solar eclipse. And the solar eclipse is in Aquarius. So it's all about who is making you feel positive, who is making your life feel worthwhile. And it's about not spending money on something that emotionally fulfills you momentarily. If it fulfills you on a long-term basis, say a holiday, then that's okay, but not using emotions to be fulfilled by what you buy. It is a day today for fresh starts, a new direction, having courage. But you know, the downside today, and this is quite normal, if you're feeling slightly deflated today, exhausted, defeated, feeling just sort of weird, as though you're not really in the mix with everybody else, emotionally void, feeling scattered, that would be absolutely normal for where you are today. And how do we join in the astrological energies and come out of it on the other side feeling better, let's say? So the upshot of today is communication and mediation is the key today, and it's only if they make you feel better. So there's no point in mediating today, particularly in a relationship, and that could be with your significant other. So it could be your partner in work, your children, your cat, your dog. If someone doesn't make you feel better today, then it's still the case of walking away to allow you in. Any relationships that ended yesterday actually were meant to end, and they were meant to end to bring you in. But because we've got Mars, the planet that is the warrior, it's actually just coming away from Neptune, which is illusion. People will be feeling deflated about where they're moving forwards to. Venus, the planet of love, is actually getting closer to Neptune. And it is, again, it's who is the positive aspect around you at the moment? Who is making you feel better about yourself? If you are Aries, the new moon will have affected you in your 11th house. So it's all to do with making contact with friends today that will give you that emotional fulfillment. If you're Taurus, it will be in the 10th house, and that's your public life. So the amount of positive vibrations you can bring to the table today, either in work or at home actually, will show you how you see your life going forwards, because it will emotionally fulfill you. Gemini, it is in your 9th house, and that's all to do with faraway places. So you'll want to wander off, even if only in your mind today. So why not think of booking a holiday? Set the seeds, look online, look in brochures. Cancerians, it's in your 8th house, and that's all to do with shared resources. So watch for a power struggle, particularly with your significant other today, and negotiating your way out will bring you peace and harmony. Leo, which is in your 7th house, it's in your partnership area. So watch for your significant other acting slightly off with you or cool with you today. And it's the astrological energies encouraging them to not be clingy. So don't fret today. Virgo, this will be in your 6th house, and it's logistics. So today you'll want to change your routine or change your direction, possibly to shock others. But if you don't do this and shock others, you may actually build up an emotion inside you, because everything is same old, and you may overreact emotionally. So I dare you, shock somebody today. Libra, this is in your 5th house of self-expression. You'll be feeling creative, dramatic, and downright flirtatious today, and people will love you for it. Scorpio, this will be in your 4th house of roots. You are now ready to walk through those doors, as you've been putting all the hard work in for your future. You have set the seeds, patience now, and watch them grow. So if you can't see anything today, it will be coming in. Sagittarius, it's in your 3rd house of distraction. Watch for things going topsy-turvy, back and front today, but you can deal with it, no problem. But with you, it's forewarned is forearmed. Capricorn, it's in your 2nd house of finances and self-worth. So work is important, an important factor to a Capricorn, but money isn't everything. So don't buy something if you don't really need it, and find other ways of giving yourself emotional fulfillment. Aquarians, this is in your 1st house of self. Some unexpected changes along the path to your goal may occur today, and as long as you get to your goal, it doesn't matter on the length of time it takes you to get there. So slowly but surely. Pisces, you laugh at this one because I'm Pisces, and Pisces, it's in my 12th house, and it's to do with invisibility, so you can't see me. And you may feel frazzled or scattered today, but still be able to be compassionate to others. And that's all that matters, as this will emotionally feed you. Now, I work on live television in England. I've worked in the UK on live television for over 11 years now. And I tend to link into people's energy by their date of birth, because when you're born, your date of birth is the fingerprints to your soul. And it gives you the positive and the negative aspects of your personality, where you've come from, past lives even. I look at relationships. I would take a couple and look at both of their numerological aspects and their astrological aspects to find out what their positives are, what their negatives are, what they can work on to make their relationship stronger. I tend to specialize in relationship readings because I am nosy. I don't tend to do a lot in the mediumship line, because I've lost everybody in my family. I only have my sister left. I tend to get quite upset when I get mediumship coming through. But if it comes through, and I give it. I only ever deal in the truth. What you get from me is, I always say, what you see is what you get, however you can't see me. I do a live feed every day called Kcor on Facebook, and it is set to public so everybody can see it, because my path in life is to spread the word of spirituality by the way that I do readings across the globe to as many people as I can. And even when I was very young, I was told by Spirit that I would be doing this on television. So eventually I was guided to a lady who opened up a circle, what we call a closed circle. And she said, "You've been guided to me, I must open this circle." And she opened it about 6 months later. There was about 6 people in this circle. And she said, "Where are you taking your gift?" So she asked everybody one by one. And some people said, "I'm going to do one-to-one." Some people said, "I'm going to do a party." And some people actually said, I'm going to do platform work. Now, when she got to me and said, where are you going? I said, I'm going on television. Because that's what Spirit had told me. And everybody thought that I had this massive ego, and it wasn't that at all. I truly believe in everything that Spirit gave me. And I ended up on live television. And I've been there for over 11 years now. And on the Kcor, we have what we call a family. We have a gentleman coming on every day called Peter Wright, and we call him Actively Seeking Single Peter. There are people on there that have been with me. I've been doing it now for about 2 years because it's easier for me to type a status rather than it's easier for me to do a live feed than it is for me to type it. So anybody out there today, if you feel as though you're deflated, if you feel as though you're exhausted, defeated, it is a day to not spend money to make you happy, to find emotional fulfillment from somewhere else. Communication and mediation is key. And literally watch for somebody coming in contact with you that will come as a surprise, because there's stuff going on with Uranus, the planet of surprises, that things can literally, synchronicity-wise, take you down a different path. When I do readings, I can look back to your past, your childhood, and there's a lot of people at the moment. There's a lot of people at the moment that have been coming to me for readings, and they are actually dealing with, and we found this out through the astrological and numerological aspects that are going on, that they're dealing with things that take them back to childhood. On Facebook at the moment, it actually shows that where we are, people are dealing with these issues because there's been a Pluto energy, and Pluto is digging up from the deep. And on Facebook, there's an app you can press, and it shows you what you would look like if you were the opposite sex. And I lost my dad at age 25, and I hoped that I would see my father when I did it as a male. And when I didn't, I was really quite upset. Now, I'm 59 this month. So my dad's been passed longer than I ever had him here as my dad. So to finally see our pictures together side by side, but me not look like him, took me back to childhood memories. So if you've been reflecting recently, this past, say, week, of negative or positive memories to do with your childhood, that's absolutely where the cosmos wants you at the moment, and it's where you're going. So you are on track at this moment. Anybody that is picking up and can take anything that I've said about what this solar eclipse and new moon means to you, and it means it for the next 4 weeks, if you can take that, then you are on track, whether or not you like it. You may be going through some heartache at the moment, but that is where Spirit want you at the moment. And I do hope that you are, obviously I can't hear, you probably all signed off, you've probably all gone home and put the phone down and thought, oh no, I can't deal with this. I only deal in the truth, but I hope you're enjoying this. The new moon is only just coming in to effect within the next couple of hours, and I always say to people at 11:11 p.m. or a.m. you can do it p.m. well, it's p.m. for me now, and you literally ask Spirit for whatever you want, and then you must remain positive, and you can add to it whenever you want. Whenever you see 11:11 on the clock, go back through your cosmic order, and on my Facebook page, Katie Keely, you'll see a picture of me in the studio and a picture of me at my last birthday. If you see that picture, there is a meditation on there for you to do that's completely free. On the Kcor, I tell you how to do a cosmic order, as I'm telling you now, and you can do the meditation that will help you connect deeply to the core. It's meditation music that has specifically been done for me, for you, free of charge, and it is to spread the word of spirituality, for you to cosmically order what you want to bring into your life. Be careful what you wish for, because when I was split from my husband, I went and chose all the clothes from this clothes shop, what I wanted my next partner to look like, and it was my ex-husband, and we got back together and we renewed our vows. In a year of relationships, So anybody that's interested in Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, they are actually in the year of marriage and babies. So they must have had a reading from somebody somewhere to confirm that this is the year that is the most special time for those two as a couple to actually get married. Are you in that marriage year? Are you in that relationship year? And sometimes, when you look at people's, I do a grid, so I have it set like based on the Chinese numbers grid. And when I look at it, I can tell what year they're in. So if you're in a year one, so like today is a day one. So it's new beginnings. The year 2018 for all of us is a year two. So a year two is asking for support. So if you're on your own today, don't ask for support.
I'd just like to break in there, Katie. Thank you so much for filling in while I've been having mega problems this end. We're just going to go to break and we'll be straight back after this.
Okay.
This is the voice of spirit, your connection to the other side.
To understand something spiritually, you must experience it. And in order to experience it, you have to experience it in your imagination.
Explore with us by calling 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
Everything that now exists was once imagined. Therefore, everything that is going to exist must first be imagined.
Back with your guide to spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Leo Bonomo.
After these brief words from our sponsors.
We interrupt to bring you this.
Would you like to advertise on KCOR Digital Radio Network?
This is what I'm talking about!
At a fraction of the cost of traditional radio advertising, why not?
Tell them the good news.
Whether you need to promote your next book, product, or service, we can customize a package for just about any budget.
Finally, there is hope for the hopeless.
Why limit yourself to a tiny local market when KCOR can brand you to the world?
Here's all you do.
Visit KCORradio.com or contact our sales department by email at saleskcorradio.com.
We want it now!
See the difference with us by letting us work for you.
This ain't reality TV!
The KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Dear John, uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. But when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
To get your high blood pressure to a healthy range, visit heart.org/bloodpressure. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Thursday nights are about to get weird on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Join hosts Timothy Beckley and Tim Swartz as they go exploring the bizarre. Jet across the cosmos with two of the most electrifying paranormal researchers in the known universe. Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Exploring the bizarre takes you deep within the world of the unexplained. UFOs, ghosts, lost worlds, cryptozoology. It's time to take back the night with hosts Timothy Beckley and Tim Swartz. Exploring the bizarre. Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Only on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
This is the world-famous KCOR.
That's the only station I listen to.
Incoming message.
In a digital world infiltrated by government as well as civilian disinformation, a single, powerful, and researched voice speaks through the night.
We're getting a signal.
Join Erica Lukes, the host of UFO Classified, as she interviews some of the hottest, sometimes controversial, but always informative people in the world of ufology and the paranormal.
They knew for sure that it was an alien craft, and our governments around the world have covered it up.
The reason I was taken aboard was because there was no choice. I would have been dead.
UFO Classified, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, every Friday night. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The truth is out there just waiting to be discovered. But the question is, are you ready for it? UFO Classified, hosted by Erica Lukes, the new voice of the high desert. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Voice of Spirit, your connection to the other side.
There's no accidents in this universe. We all show up here with a purpose. There's an intelligence that is a part of everything and everyone, and all of us are connected to it.
Connect with us on Twitter by using hashtag KCOR. Even better, join us live in our chat room at kcorradio.com. To get a free reading during the show, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Worldwide callers, use Skype name KCOR Radio. And now, inspirational clairvoyant medium, psychic, and your connection to the spirit, the host of the Voice of Spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Hi and welcome back to the show. We've got Keely on, who's very wonderfully filled in for me because I've had some problems, so it's nice. It does show how professional she is, and as you've heard, she's worked in TV and radio for a long time now, 11 years. And welcome back, Katie.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. Right. Take us back to your first sort of impression or awareness of spirit.
As a tiny child, and I've never been taught, so I don't know any different. As a tiny child, I always felt somebody sitting on my bed or going past my bed or nudging my bed or sitting on it. And I would look and there would be nobody there. And I remember very early on running down the stairs because I'd walk as I was walking down the stairs, and I always remember I was on step number 3 at the top of the stairs, and I looked into my mother's bedroom, of which you weren't allowed to go in unless you were told you could go in, and I saw this woman who was fully formed walking out of my mother's wardrobe. So I went down the stairs screaming, and I can still see her to this day washing the pots. And I said, oh, this, and I described her, and she said, oh, yes, that's Auntie so-and-so. And then she dismissed me that I was not to ask any more questions, because still here in the town that I live in, which is sort of halfway in the UK, it's still not spoken about. It's still done behind closed doors. I know my grandmother did, although I didn't know her, I know of her that she did ribbons and tea leaves, and we're at healers first, and I've just always had this gift, but because I've never been taught, I assume, even now, that if it is so obvious to me, why is it not obvious to everybody else?
Yes, I do take your meaning. Like you, I saw spirit from a very early age. Although I don't like the word ghost, I saw my first one from 2. I just took it as normal. The only thing I didn't really feel was quite normal was the clothing of the gentleman, because he was dressed as a Victorian with a top hat. So that was the only thing that bothered me. And yes, it is quite amazing that it should be something that's second nature, because it's there in everyone to one degree or another. But
I think eventually people are now more open, and I think it will be, because when I was a child, you didn't talk about it. Now, when I talk to people, I say, please, if your child shows any, if they see anything, if they hear anything, don't poo-poo it. Don't put the child down. Children are open to spirit. It's only as they grow up that it closes down. So if they see something, they are very gifted, you know, and there's a reason why we are on this. When I was 6 years old, I was told by spirit that I would die by the time I was 40. And I always wondered what it was. I mean, we don't ever go past 70 anyway, but I wondered why it was 40. And then my sister got breast cancer, and we were 12 years apart and twins. And I knew it was breast cancer that I would go with. So I went to the doctors and said, because I had 3 tiny children, and I said, I need my breasts off. I was 34 at the time, and they said, no, you can't do that. And then 3 years later, I went in and said, there's a thing from America, bilateral mastectomy, that would save my life, and I've got 3 tiny children, and I want my breasts off. And I couldn't tell them that I'd been told I'd be dead by the time I was 40. So at age 37, they rushed me through. I had all the test psychologists and everybody, and it was an extremely painful time. But when they took the breast tissue away, and they did my genetics, I already had a gene there, and I was 1 in 4 chance of getting it. But when they took the tissue away, they said you'd never have seen 40 because you already had precancerous cells there, and you are you're age 37, and it's a particularly aggressive cancer that you get, so you would never have survived any treatment.
Well, I mean, it's a very it's a sad story because of what's happened. That I understand, but isn't it?
My children.
Well, I was just going to. Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's a wonderful story, and it's a good job you didn't mention what you did, because the first thing they'd reach for is the men in white coats, isn't it?
Well, I did the second time I went. I did. And when I went to see the geneticist at the major cancer hospital here, he said to me, and this goes for everybody, he said, the brain is so incredibly powerful that if you continually think that you are going to get something, you'll get it. So the art is continually think that you are never going to get it, which is what I do now. It never enters my head.
Yeah, and I think that's something that everyone can learn from. I'm big into manifesting myself, and
I am.
yeah, and it is wonderful. I had a book many years ago, and it was 30 years into the future, and it was talking about all different things, and some of these things were inventions and that, but it was also talking about how the mind absolutely controls the body.
Yeah, absolutely. We only use a very small portion of our brains.
We do. I did read somewhere that probably the greatest genius that ever lived, Leonardo da Vinci, they estimated used 9, maybe 10% of his brain.
Yeah. I think it was about 20, so you're on the right track there.
Right, yeah, I reckon mine's about 2, but there you go.
Well, I was going to say that about me, because you often find that people that are psychically aware can have problems in dealing with the raw day-to-day life, but if it's to do with compassion and helping others, or psychically linking in, it's great, but give them bank accounts to deal with or taxation stuff to deal with, and they're rubbish. That would be quite normal, so I'd say mine's 2% too.
Bless you. Yeah, and it's because at that point they didn't understand what the other 95% of the brain was for. I mean, it was a big mystery.
I think it's because we're still evolving.
I think you're
right. The more the brain will change, because you can see it from where we've evolved from, how the brain has changed. I think it will change. It will change again, not in my lifetime, but it will change again.
Yes, I definitely think you're right, and I think as people do become more aware, then and more open to it, I think that just gives it capacity to expand in incredibly exponentially. I would say.
Yeah, I agree there. I agree. I mean, I look at it. It's a double-edged sword. The path that we lead, because you're never off duty. If I'm needed in an emergency situation, then I'm on duty. They'll bring me on duty. I mean, they'll scream in my ear but it's nice to help people, but then you get the other side of it when it gets to midnight and people have their woes and can't go on any longer, and you can't leave them because if anything did happen, then you would never rest. So you have to be there for people, and sometimes it's tiring. Sometimes I have to switch my stuff off and just go to bed. But it's amazing, as you just said, we've both had flu, we've both had pneumonia, but the minute I start doing a reading, it lifts. The minute I stop doing the reading, comes back.
Yeah, you do see that with mediums on platform as well. They come in with a miserable cold and the nose is running and everything, and they get up, and there's that change where when spirit come close or enter, depending on the way they work, and everything clears up, and then you do that, and then they go, and you're back to a shriveling wreck again.
Yeah, I've done a TV show whereby I really thought that I couldn't do it. I walked in, did the show, absolutely perfect, you couldn't tell. And as I came out of the studio and walked out of the studio to cross the road, I was sick everywhere.
Oh,
and yet I was absolutely perfect on the show. I was like, thank goodness.
I think people don't. That would certainly be an outtake, wouldn't it? But yeah, because again, I don't think people understand. Certainly, skeptics don't really want to understand. But I don't think people are.
I think
yeah, do you know that's that? I've said that many times on shows. I think they are. I think there's an instinct there of I've been really bad. I'm going to go to hell, so just blank it out. Because the mind has a wonderful capacity to blank things out, and you only have to go back to the Second World War and things like that, and the horrendous things that were happening, and people make excuses, and then they cope with it, and it's quite hard to revert. So whilst that's a wonderful capacity to, I think, initially save us from harm and trauma, it just blanks it out and that's it. Man seems to have been able to twist that into something else completely. And
I know my mentor did free readings in a pub here. The pub paid her, and she just went around. Anybody wanted a free reading, she just did 3 cards, and she got to this guy, and he was I've got a wicked sense of humour, and he was absolutely blind drunk. And she said, "Pick 3 cards," and he went, "No, you pick 1 card for me." And he was absolutely, and I'm thinking, because I was really worried for her. And anyway, she said, "Okay, I'll pick 1 for you." And then she said, "You're still mourning over your twin's death." And he just burst into tears. So this big strapping guy who was absolutely drunk, she reduced him to tears in 1 minute.
Oh, bless.
He was absolutely skeptic until she said. And then we had I've forgotten his name now, but like a magician type bloke that goes round and he tries to ridicule mediums and psychics. And he actually came into the pub one night, and I looked and I was worried again for her. And she said, "No," she said, "Bring him here. Let me give him a reading." And he wouldn't let her do a reading for him. And he came. he actually came out as gay just after that. So he was hiding behind a veil, and he knew that. Knew a job, and he was going to pick something out about him, and it was I can't think of his name. He's very, very famous.
It's not not Paul McKenna. There's another guy, isn't there? He feels theatres. Yeah. No, it's the other guy. Yeah, I know who you mean.
I think that he is actually psychic himself, but it's another way of. His way of making a living by ridiculing others and making it like part of it is to do with magic. Yeah, I think so. Because, some people are under the impression, and that's certainly bolstered by skeptics, that mediums make huge amounts of money, but the strange thing is, that if you look at the top skeptics like Randy, I read that he was paid around 100,000 a year to propose, that it's a trick and it's all bluff and everything. And he's been caught out a few times, There's a saying, you will never find a rich, true spiritualist medium because we give so much back. I mean, I've just spent 2 hours this afternoon with someone, and all they had was £20.
Yeah.
So I did 2 hours work of dealing with every part of their life, mediumship, the whole lot, and it was £20. Now, and I work on television.
Yeah.
And in television, you don't get paid much, but television is my path. So what Spirit does is that I remember one time where I only had £5 in my purse, and I needed £5. I needed it for some butter and some petrol, and I went and I used to teach aquarobics, and I went to the class, and there was a gang of girls, and we all put a £5 in for coffee, but none of them were there. There was a big group, and they were all down with the flu. And somebody knocked on my door later on, and she said, when I was having a shower, and she said, all the girls have got colds and flu, so we couldn't come. And will you take this £5 back? Because none of us are here to have coffee, and I've made you a cheese and onion pie. So I had 3 children. I didn't have any money, and I got the £5, which is what I asked for. So always, aim higher than £5. And she made me a cheese and onion pie. So Spirit will always come in if you work spiritually from the heart. Spirit will always take care of you. They take care of me when I'm out on the roads. They always give me visions. If I'm going to be in a car accident, if there's a possibility of me being killed on the motorway, they will come through and give me visions. And I always put it on Facebook. And then when it comes through and I get to the other end, I put what's happened on. But it is, I came home 3 days ago from a place, and me and my son had taken a slightly different route. And my son said, do you think this is the, Spirit's way of keeping us out of an accident? Lo and behold, we're on the M55, which is the last bit of motorway to our house. And there was a woman lying in the middle of the road, and her Mercedes was in the central reservation. And the police had just got to her, and they were stopping the traffic behind us. So the traffic was stopped for 2.5 hours. But had we been a little bit before that, she may have gone into us.
Yeah, I've had that as well with roads that, especially motorways that I know quite well. And all of a sudden I thought, oh God, this is a slip road I need. Yeah. And I've pulled off, and it's literally, 10 miles up to turn around. And I'm thinking, oh my God. The first time it happened to me, I thought, oh my God, what's happening? But then I realised it's probably saved me from something. So they do take care, don't they? Spirit, they absolutely take care.
I've been in an accident on the M1 whereby I thought I got out of it. It was somebody broke down, but it wasn't. It was a full-blown car accident. I just happened to be driving at a safe speed and being able to manoeuvre myself around it. But when I went to the massive police station here to give a statement, I actually saw 2 burly policemen, road traffic police, and the lady policeman was telling them about my interview that I'd just given of how I'd got out of this accident. A 23-year-old girl got killed, 3-week-old baby, a car went in. It was awful. And they just stood there and they were looking at me, and the pair of them were just shaking their heads. They couldn't believe that I'd not only got out of the accident, because there were cars in flames and everything out of 5 cars, that I'd not been touched. I'd literally driven around it because I was going at I was compass mentis, going at a safe speed, and Spirit were on my side.
Yeah, I know that I have been saved around half a dozen times at least, and one was when I was very young, and I think I was about 8 or 9, something like that, and I was walking to school, and I was about to cross the road, and something just made me stop. And as I stopped, this car come hurtling round the corner, and I literally, that would have been it. So Spirit do intervene at opportune moments, and
I think the difference between us and everybody else is that we are highly tuned and we listen to our intuition. A lot of people that aren't as high, they still have the intuition, but they don't follow it. And if people listened more to what Spirit were trying to tell them, they would be saved in a lot of situations. Because I said to a chief inspector one time, I said, when you go on these drug busts, I said, do you listen to your intuition? And he looked at me like I'd gone daft, and he went, no. And I said, well, okay. I said, when you go on these drug busts, do you listen to your gut instinct? He said, but of course. I said, well, that's your intuition.
Well, it's what is it they say about a copper's nose? That they have. It's quite funny because they all know that they have a sixth sense, and they say, well, 30 years on the job, you would have, but we know it's different to that, and it's been quite tough breaking through. For mediums to help police now. I mean, now it's much more common, but I just find it quite amusing that they all rely on their gut instinct, but don't put it down to that.
I mean, this guy was like 6'5" and worked out in the gym every day, and he looked down at me at 5'2" as if I was stupid when I said intuition. But when I said, "Well, do you use your gut instinct?" then he went, "But of course." I said, "Well, that is your intuition," and he didn't know what to say to that. But I have helped.
I think sometimes,
sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry. I think sometimes that if men think, well, I do have that intuition, and that it's a little bit girly. It's more like women's intuition, because that's often used at all. We don't talk about men's intuition; it's women's intuition. And I also get the feeling that some of them think, well, if they show a bit of emotion on that side of themselves, it might be an indication of something else, which of course is rubbish. But I think they are afraid of it. A lot of men that haven't,
Yeah, this is funny. The same guy, a few years later, he was swimming where I was working, and somebody said, "Oh, so-and-so wants to see you in the bar afterwards. So he's seen a ghost." I went, "Oh, he has he?" So I walked in and I said, "I believe you want to see me, sir." And he said, "I've got something to tell you." And I said, "What?" He said, "Well, I was in bed with my girlfriend." He said, "And I was sat up." He said, I was wide awake, and he said, this guy stood at the side of me. He said, "I can tell you every wrinkle on his face. I could tell you everything about him." And he disappeared into the chest of drawers. And I said, "Well, do you believe now then?" And he said, "I have to believe." So he didn't even want to say that he believed. And he'd seen one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make you laugh. I tell you, you couldn't wipe the smile off my face.
I can imagine it.
Every time he used to see me, he used to go, "Ooh, here she is. Ooh, what have you got? What did you get around me?"
I bet I've got a friend called Sue Brown. She's another great medium, and she went in to have her car done at the garage, and there was a guy there that was very, very skeptical, and she was talking to the other guys, and then he asked, "Oh, what's this and that?" And she says, "Oh, you don't believe, do you?" So he said, "No." So he said, "Go on then, prove it." So she told him about this banner and different things, and this guy and a motorbike, and he went completely white, and he said, "Come out here in the workshop," and he showed her the banner, and his friend and him were on motorbikes, and his friend got killed, but I think the day before they'd stolen this banner, and so again that really took the smile off his face. I think it was wonderful. So she's got the nickname there of Spooky Sue.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Which I find quite funny.
I think that's, again, people like to sort of ridicule us in some sort of way. My husband, one time before we got divorced, I did some cards, and I just looked at him and went, "Oh my God." He said, "What?" I said, "You think I'm a raving schizophrenic?" And he just went, "What?"
Oh, that is funny. I saw Robert Brown one time. He lives all over the world, but he lives in the States, and he once did a reading for a skeptic at the SAGB, and got some music there. So I think we're going to a break.
See you after the break.
You've been listening to Leo Bonomo, the host of The Voice of Spirit. Live every Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the Kcor Digital Radio Network. For more information on the show, guests, and host of The Voice of Spirit, or to book a private reading, please visit leo-bonomo.com. That's leo-bonomo.com. Your connection to the other side is just a phone call away. The Voice of Spirit.
It is amazing, is it not?
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51. Wait, that doesn't exist. This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.
In the deep recesses of one's mind, there is a voice, a guiding light through the darkness, a connection to the other side.
You're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just a poor little me.
Pathway to spiritual that echoes with enlightenment. The Voice of Spirit.
The Voice of Spirit.
You are a function of this total galaxy, bounded by the Milky Way, and that furthermore, this galaxy is a function of all other galaxies.
Your journey starts here and now. With your host and connection to Spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Hi, welcome back. We're talking to Keely, and a very interesting life she's led, and very experienced in TV and radio. And
where we are at the moment, I'm going to give you your astrology, and this is where you will grow and expand. Okay, so in the next 9 months, while Jupiter is in your sign, you will grow and expand in these areas. So for Aries, it's going to be your wants, your desires, relationships, particularly where you share resources. So it may be business or at home. Also watch for your psychic development going up as well. Taurians, where you are going to grow and expand in this next 9 months at least is new doorways opening up for you, relationships and marriage, or working at a relationship, support from persons at work, or needing to ask for help. It's a good time for if you need help from doctors or lawyers, and it's a good time for if you need to do civil suits. But make sure that you don't ask for more than you need or more than you warranted. Marriage in this year for Taurians would be to somebody who may be older or established, and actually respect will draw you to this person rather than looks or charisma. Gemini, where you will grow and expand, will be in your health and your day-to-day life, your routine, your responsibilities, improve job situations or new jobs. It is a time really in this next 9 months for you to watch your health, your weight, especially because of your pancreas. Where we get past Gemini, it goes into Cancer, and it's in your 5th house for the next 9 months. It's finding the courage, and it really is finding that courage to step up and really ask for what you want. Don't be the yes person. Don't say, yes, it's okay, if it's not. Needing to set boundaries, love and relationships, particularly the relationship you have with yourself. This next 9 months, if the more you love yourself, the more you're going to bring in. When we get to Leo, it's about your inner peace and security, and it's about you may want to move home or expand, decorate. Any problems that you have, turn to your family at this time, and make sure that you don't work so hard that you can't have a relationship. When you get to Virgo, it's about expressing yourself, which Virgos can find it hard. It's about increasing contacts, learning, writing, extended travel. Relationship with relatives, you may actually find that you get some financial benefits from them. You will be planning for the future, but don't commit to something that you know that you cannot and will not come to fruition. Libra, this is in your financial house, so it's to do with your finances and self-worth. on a long-term basis, creating and keeping hold of money. If you want something, ask yourself, do I really need it? Is it bringing me happiness? If a holiday brings you happiness, then that's good. Investing money is good at this time. Scorpio, it's in your first house, so it's really, Jupiter has gone into Scorpio. So if you are a Scorpio, you have Scorpio moon, you have Scorpio rising, and this is for you as well. And it's in your first house. It's major growth time for you. And it's finding out who you are and letting go, particularly in relationships, ones that don't work. You will have increased self-confidence, but be careful with this increased confidence that you don't get an ego. You're still learning. Sagittarius, you're spiritually opening up, feeling more compassionate and wanting to help others. And you may find somebody who is spiritual that comes in to actually teach you. This is a healing time for you and all your past hurts, a time of reflection and acknowledging your faults without fear or recrimination anymore. Capricorn, this is in your 11th house, so it's all about your wants, your desires, your long-term goals, and being with the right people, being with somebody in a partnership, particularly in your career area. Don't limit yourself to working on your own or being on your own, because the more that you help others along the way, the good will come back in greater quantity. Aquarius, it's to do with career and expanding long-term goals, and it's a time to decide what direction you want to make your mark on the world. The recognition of your achievements, promotions, confidence, there may be a change of career even in this time. Pisces, it is extensive travel, learning, reading, philosophy, religion, real and useful knowledge about your world. Writing, becoming wiser, not smug or self-righteous, and travel, particularly in business, searching for the meaning of life. And there's a few things there that I can go back to. My husband, love him, I've been with him 42 years. He actually wanted to send me something for Valentine's Day and forgot, and contacted a place where you could buy something, they would send it to you. So he bought a big teddy bear, but didn't look properly because he was in a rush, and it's addressed to Mummy. And the card he did himself, he made the card himself with this firm, and he spelt my name Kaite when it should be Katie. But Sagittarians have an immense sense of humour, and him sending that to me, of which didn't get here, so I had to go and collect it today, made me laugh. And we can go back to his childhood there, whereby everything he would have done, or something he would have done, in his mother's eyes or father's eyes, wasn't good enough. And he spent his whole life knowing that he tries to do something, he just seems to fail at the last hurdle. But actually, as he's a Sagittarian, acknowledging his fears, acknowledging his faults without fear or recrimination anymore is where he's at. And that's where he's going to grow and expand. So him doing everything wrong actually makes me love him more, because it made me laugh, and he always makes me laugh. So are you with the type of person in your relationship that gives you maybe something different? They're a bit off the wall, but are you getting something back from them that is different, but it makes you love them? I always say to him, you're my rock, I couldn't live without you. Rock being that, solid, but getting an emotion out of him is like getting blood out of a stone. So, how are you all feeling today? We've got this new moon. Are you going to do your cosmic ordering? When you do your cosmic ordering, write down on a piece of paper what you want to bring into your life. Be careful what you wish for. And you simply, I say a little prayer beforehand, and then I say, if it suits the cosmos, then I would like. And I do it for friends and family, pets, relatives, everybody. Even when I did it this morning on my Kcor on Facebook, it's a live feed. Everybody that was on my live feed was in my cosmic ordering. When you've done the cosmic ordering, you do it 11:11. So for you over there, when it's 11:11, do it. And then every time you see 11:11, go back through your cosmic order. And once you start getting things, you then at the end of your I would like, you say, and thank you for. It's amazing what I've got from it. I've had upgrades for holiday. I've got a new car, upgraded my car. I've had so much from it that I make sure I do it. And one lady that I know, to make sure every time she sees her cosmic order, she has it written out, and it's her screensaver on her phone. So every time she opens it up, she goes back through a cosmic order again. But you have to remain positive. Any negativity will actually wipe everything out. So I would like to hear of anybody that's doing their cosmic ordering, and down the line, anybody that does the cosmic ordering and it's come true. When I do a reading and I have a person's date of birth in front of me, they may be a Gemini. But if in numerological terms they are a number 1, then that would tell me a number 1 is a leader, not a follower, and it's a very Aries energy. So I always say to people when they come to me for readings, look at the astrological aspect that I'm giving you now, but also look at the numerological aspect, because it's almost like a sun and moon aspect. So the sun is your astrological aspect, and the moon, to me, the moon is your emotional aspect. So always look at the two different. I'm a 9, so a 9 is a Pisces, and I am a Pisces. So that intensifies the Pisces energy. So I'm a real big softie that loves helping people. And a 9 energy, in numerological terms, is Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Elvis Presley, just to name a few that are people that are creative, dramatic, but 9s are natural healers. Very compassionate, would help absolutely anybody, but people do take advantage of them. They can have quite a challenge in life within relationships, because we just want to be happy and to fit in with people, and sometimes people take advantage of our kind nature. Now, you'd never do that with an Aries, because an Aries is a fire sign. An Aries would if you were a Pisces with a number 1 energy, which is the Aries energy, you would have somebody there that is very soft-natured, but you would only push them so far, and then the Aries would kick back. And Aries always have to have the last say. When you get to a Taurian, they're very grounded, very practical. So if you have somebody who is very grounded, very practical, very duty-bound, and say they are a number 1, an Aries energy adds a little bit of fire to that. When you get the air energies, you've got the Aquarius, the Libra, and the Gemini. The Gemini, if you look at the astrological chart, is the first one in the chart. So the Gemini has very babyish tendencies. When you look at the Libra energy, they are the moody teenager. And when you look at the Aquarius, they're the wise old soul. So as you look at the fire sign, Aries is the baby, so can be quite stroppy. Then you have Leo, which is the moody teenager. And then you have the Sagittarius, the philosopher, the wise one. When you have the water signs, you have Cancer, which is the baby. Then you have, hang on, let me go through star sign. Cancer, Scorpio is the moody teenager, and Pisces is the wise one. When you look at the signs of the earth, which are Taurus, that's the baby. So again, baby's tendencies, stubborn. Then you get to what is it? Taurus, Virgo, which is the moody teenager, can be a bit crabby, it's very self-critical. And then you get to Capricorn, again, who's the wise person. And Capricorns tend to be very duty-bound, so they will have very duty-bound type jobs, like police, like doctors. You can also have, and number 4 to me is a very earthy nature. So if I'm looking at somebody and they're a number 4, then I would say to them, and I've done it with an 8-month-old baby, whereby I've said this child will grow up and will be in a duty type job. So it could be in the army or navy. And I did that in about 2 minutes flat, and the lady had been to an astrologer where she spent about half an hour sat with her and picked up exactly the same. So I always feel that numerology is done quickly, whereas astrology takes a little bit more time. But when you get both the astrology and the numerology together, it gives you a much rounded character. So if you're in a relationship and say you want to know what that person's thinking of you, then the ideal thing to do for me is to get both their dates of birth, have a look at what their astrological aspects are singularly, have a look at what their numerological aspects are singularly, put them together and see what, as a partnership, whilst they are together in a partnership, what their positives are, what their negatives are, and what they actually have together. What are their strengths together? And then when I've done that with the reading, I normally put the people's names and I put a pendulum over. That tells me whether or not I've got energy within the relationship. Once I've done that, if the person wants to know, say, what her husband is thinking at the moment, because let's face it, ladies, sometimes it is a guessing game with our partners. We are different, but sometimes that's good. What I would then do is I have a pack of cards that change. When I look at them, they go 3D. So it's whatever. I've never learned cards from a book. It's whatever jumps out at me when I look at them. When I do a reading, I tell the person beforehand that they are only going to get the truth. They may not like the truth, but I will only give the truth. And then I will look into the person to see what exactly they're thinking, because sometimes when a man comes home from work and he's having a go at maybe the children are getting on his nerves, sometimes that is because he's having a bad time at work. He doesn't want to say to the wife that he's having a bad time at work because that would make him look slightly inferior. So he hides it. But it has to come out some way. So at some point in time, there'll be the husband having a go at the kids, then the wife has a go at the husband, then they start arguing, and then she thinks that maybe there's somebody else on the side, or the relationship has gone past its sell-by date. And sometimes quickly doing a reading, you can have a look at the situation and say to them, well, actually, no, he's worried sick about losing his job, and he's worried sick that if he does lose his job, that he hasn't got the money to pay for the house. And so when the other person knows this information, they can accept that and try and make a go of it and keep that's my aim for relationships, is to try and keep them together. You know, people come in our lives for a reason. They go out for a reason. Sometimes it's a season. But anybody that had a relationship that ended yesterday, or particularly yesterday or today, then it's meant to end, to bring someone new in. The astrology for you all for the next 5 years is Aries. Don't go pressing that self-destruct button just because you're afraid of being judged. You might not have all the answers, but try not to make a decision within one day. For Taurians, don't push people away because you have a trust issue. Just listen to your intuition for once. And this is for your next 5 years. Geminis, you have to choose which path to take and commit to now, and you may feel frustrated that you can't mix pleasure and work. Cancer, are you really doing what you want? Maybe you need to push the boundaries, pardon me, or move on. But you need to keep some sort of balance in your life. It's all about, loving you first. Leos, you can have it all, but you have to put the work in, so no slacking. If you believe in yourself, others will too. Virgo, you can have fun, it's not a sin, but you know what they say. Maybe today you want to say no, and it's about setting boundaries for you too. Libra, learn where you need to set the boundaries, particularly in relationships, and stop going for the wrong relationships. This is for 5 years. Scorpio, how far are you prepared to go to find yourself? You can push yourself now if you want to. And are you living in the right place? And that goes in all aspects. Are you living in the right house? And in your soul, are you in the right place? Are you getting what you want from life? Sagittarius, you're on a journey now, but you have to believe in yourself and get rid of the emotional baggage from 5 years ago and let go of what isn't working for you at this moment in time. Capricorn, transformation is absolutely all around you, and you've so much to give, but don't forget, Confidence and humility is crucial to your success and for you to reach your goal. Aquarius, spirituality is going to go deep for you now, but are you terrified? Would you rather sit back and let it go by? But that's where you're going now, to find the real you. And you'll be looking at your relationship area in life. You know what? Life is too short to think small. Pisces, have you finally worked out that you deserve more recognition? And do the people around you lift you up? You are now in a place where you are going to make significant ripples that will now push you forward to reach your goals. Those are the astrology, and I am very nosy. I take on board everybody's aspect to do with where they are at this moment in time. So I look at everybody's on their part of the astrology, and I may take one word from it, I may take a sentence. It's whatever jumps out at me. And when I was doing the astrology yesterday for today, I did feel that our growth and expansion would be slightly stilted today, and that's all because Mars is moving away from Jupiter. We have, when it's moving away, we've had the squaring, what we call the squaring, I call boxing. So it's almost like you've got a couple there, two big burly men, and they're opposite each other and a right good go at each other. They're starting to move away from each other, but it is still strong. So Mars is how you go forward, and Jupiter is your growth and expansion. It is still very strong. However, we've got Venus, which is getting closer to Neptune. So it is about who makes you positive, who makes you happy. If something isn't making you happy, particularly yesterday, don't be surprised if they were taken away from you. As I'm now sat here and I'm pulling a card for you, it is showing that there is somebody listening to this program. I've got the energies are really low. There's also somebody here, I feel, that is coming up to a birthday and don't want to come to a birthday. And I feel as though I've got somebody thinking, over-analysing a situation. If you can take any of these cards, the energy level card, if your energies are flat at the moment, I do feel as though, and I only ever give the truth, there is somebody here that's trying to come in from above, from spirit, to give you some comfort. And also what I feel here is that they're giving you a glass, and it's raising a glass on how far you've come. Because there's one point in time where you would have felt like giving up. Okay? For the people who are frightened of reaching some sort of celebration here, I do feel as though I've got you feeling really low, and maybe it's a big celebration that you don't want to look forward to, but I do feel as though I've got moods going really, really low there, so be careful. You need to be getting out and about and talking to people. All those that have been over-analysing situations too much, I would say to you, the answer is you need to talk about it. Don't keep it all in. Talking about it within the next 7 days will take you forwards. So if you've got something going around in your mind, get it off your chest. If it's a relationship, be it work or significant other, if you are at this point in time where you need the strength and the courage to go on, the strength and the courage actually comes from talking about it. I'm doing blind readings there for people who are listening to this, and I hope that may help, and the astrology may help in you dealing with your life in general at the moment. If you can take what I've said to you, then great, and we will see you beyond the break.
Yes, we will do, Catherine. I'm going to interrupt you right there because this is Tina Marie from the Kcor Digital Radio Network. Leo is having some internet issues, so we're going to just kind of take it a break right now. We'll be back after this break in about 3.5 minutes, so stay tuned. More from Voice of Spirit.
This is the Voice of Spirit, your connection to the other side.
To understand something spiritually, you must experience it. And in order to experience it, you have to experience it in your imagination.
Explore with us by calling 702 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
Everything that now exists was once imagined. Therefore, everything that is going to exist must first be imagined.
Back with your guide to spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Leo Bonomo.
After these brief words from our sponsors.
"1 Million Miles Till Midnight." A story of timelines, artificial worlds, simulated races, and the galactic imprint, and the destiny of a blue world called Earth. 1 Million Miles Till Midnight, written by Solaris Blue Raven, is a journey through the mind's eye which allows the reader to surf a wave of technological and multidimensional intellect, revealing a bridge between conscious design and the truth. A multidimensional bleed-through awakens the world of artificial intelligence to set sail into the frontiers of a vast multiverse, morphing planets and terraforming ascended worlds beyond the linear programs of a fated race. 1 Million Miles Till Midnight will awaken, inspire, prepare, and enlighten one to the many multidimensional states of consciousness and worlds we reside in. With every cell and atom, we are this truth and multiverse. 1 Million Miles Till Midnight, written by Solaris Blue Raven. Available now at Amazon.com and GlenNT.com. Don't wait. Get your copy today.
That's
good.
Turn your radio up.
I love it. All the music I want to hear. This is my station.
If ever a breed was affectionate to a fault, it's the Golden Retriever. They're people dogs, pure and simple. And the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada needs your help. If you would like to volunteer, foster, adopt, or donate, go to the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada's website at grrsn.org. That's grrsn.org. Or call 598-GOLD. That's 598-GOLD.
Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific. Jump onto the Celestial Highway and travel at the speed of light. Into hyperspace. Hyperspace. Hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. She navigates you through the cosmic tides of mysticism into the world of covert technology, UFOs, mystical sciences, and the world of unforeseen forces.
You get to really sort of enjoy a bizarre ride.
Listen live, Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific. For Hyperspace. The one show that blows the whistle off our government black ops projects. Hyperspace. Hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Want to take a ride?
Welcome back to the Voice of Spirit, your connection to the other side.
There's no accidents in this universe. We all show up here with a purpose. There's an intelligence that is a part of everything and everyone, and all of us are connected to it.
Connect with us on Twitter by using hashtag KCOR. Even better, join us live in our chat room at kcorradio.com. To get a free reading during the show, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. And now, inspirational clairvoyant medium, psychic, and your connection to the spirit, the host of the Voice of Spirit, Leo Bonomo.
All right. Well, Leo, unfortunately, is still having internet issues. My name is Tina Marie. I am the network owner, CEO, network producer, you name it. Also the host of Restricted Airspace on Friday night. I'm going to finish off the last half an hour here, and we do have a great guest here, Catherine Keely. And I'll tell you what, if you guys are looking to get a free reading the last half an hour, you can call into the show. It's 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. If you are somewhere in the world, you can jump on Skype and find us on KCOR Radio, or even just jump on our chat room here if you'd like, and you want to put down a question or something like that, we can do that as well. But please welcome back to the show, Catherine Keely. And Catherine, one of the questions I want to ask you, because we get a lot of psychic mediums that come on the show here through the different paranormal shows we have. Have you ever worked with a paranormal team, like going in and like either clearing a house or trying to get communications?
Yes, I have. I'm doing one live on air next week for a TV company. But yes, I have. I've actually gone into places. And when you go into these places, you can automatically feel, you can feel the path that the spirit takes. It's like a magnetic energy that you walk into. It's almost like it pushes you back. I've been in the most haunted jail in Europe. In Ireland, which was amazing. As I walked in, it literally, I fell back and I said, oh my gosh, what's here? It's like 6 foot here, 6 foot by about 3 foot. And it's actually where the main jailer is always standing. And then I saw this lady coming in and out of the door of one of the cells. And I said, this lady's wandering. She said, yes, we know about this lady. I said, she keeps wandering in and out, in and out. She's in a long blue dress, which surprised me because I'd heard there was 15 to a cell. So it surprised me that she would be in a dress. I thought she would be in rags. But she showed me as her being in a dress with a pinny. And she had a little boy. And I said, she's looking for a little boy. Where's the little boy? That's what she's searching for. And she said, well, in those days, there was a potato famine. And she possibly was caught stealing. And when the mothers were caught stealing, they literally just ripped the child from their arms. They got thrown in jail and the child had to fend for themselves. And this little boy was only about 8 or 9. And that's why she's continually seen walking in and out onto the landing because she's searching for this little boy. And this woman had worked there, 20 or 30 years she'd worked there. And she said, she's always known of this woman walking in and walking out, but she's never heard anybody pick up that it was a little boy that she was searching for, and it all made sense. And then when I went down to the prison cells below, which was where they tortured them, I said, I've got a man here. I've got a man on the floor. He's crouching in the corner. And they said that they'd heard that sometimes the jailers literally threw people into this like cell in below the jail and left them there to literally rot. And that's why I got this man crouched in a fetal position in the corner. So I when I go in places, I love doing anything like that. I know it sounds awful, but I'm a detective, so I like to find out.
Let me ask you about these spirits that are roaming. I hear a lot of people, especially in the paranormal field, have issues with either wanting to go in there and clear them, send them on their way, or not. And then some say that you can't clear them, that they're trapped souls. What's your take on that?
Sometimes you can get them to pass over. I mean, I have had one man who was roaming this house and a woman that was staying there, and he thought that she was his property because he was in his house. She was in his house, and she had a terrible time with him. And we moved her out and went in, and it took us 2 days to get rid of him. But the woman would never come back. So sometimes that, if they're not a nice soul on this plane, sometimes they're not nice on the other side either. And I do a lot of work. If I feel the need to pass them over, I will do. If I don't feel the need and it comes from spirit, then I leave them. I came to America one time in Pennsylvania, and I went into a factory, and a little girl had been killed there. And there was 2 young girls working there. They were only about 16 or 18 working in the factory. and stuff kept getting moved. And the little girl didn't want to be passed over. She was only about 7. She didn't want to be passed over. But what she did was she wanted toys. And that's why she kept putting stuff in different places, because she was playing with the 2 girls. She liked the girls, so she didn't want to pass over. I've had a man here in a hotel whereby it used to be his house. And now it's a hotel. And his front room was the bar. So he loved listening to everybody's stories. He didn't want to pass over, so I didn't pass him over.
My biggest issue we have is a lot of these ghost shows, and I don't know necessarily how in the UK they treat this kind of medium. I know here in the States, it's a big thing where everything's demonic, everything's evil. And I don't believe that. I honestly believe that there are spirits that are just nice.
No. Wasn't nice. Yeah, I think, if you are not nice on this plane, I don't necessarily feel that having seen, I've been physically pushed. My daughter has had bruises on her arms, her wrists, feet, and round her neck from a poltergeist. I don't necessarily think that if they're not nice on this earth, that some of them still don't stay very nice on the other side either. It took me a whole weekend to cleanse this house, and I did it. I remember my goddaughter staying with me. She'd only just been born, and I could see him at the end of the bed, and he was crouched down, and you could see it's like black energy. And it was then that I realised, and then when I got at my daughter, who'd got these bruises around her, I knew that this guy was stepping up what he was doing. I mean, you could walk up the stairs and there would be keys flying off the ledge and going and literally flying past you. The only way it didn't hit me was that I literally pulled my head back. CDs, you could sit in the living room and you could see CDs flying off the shelf in the kitchen. Cupboard doors opening.
Have you ever asked any of the spirits how they're able to either, being that they don't have physical form, how are they able to physically throw a physical item or create a physical bruise?
I think it's just the energy that they have. They use the energy that they've got. I mean, I've been stood in my kitchen, and in my house where my kitchen is, I've got a DVD player, and it switched itself on and opened itself up. And I went, and I was quite annoyed. So I went to it, put it back in, switched it off. I did that 3 times. And then the 4th time, I stood in front of it and said, right, do it now. And it did it again. So then I got my phone, and this goes for all the live TV shows. I got my phone, got it on video, and I said, right, switch yourself on, open yourself up. And it wouldn't do it. But I always say to people, the easiest way, if you want to connect with spirit, and it may not happen the first time, the 20th time, but you get a tea light candle, you put it where there is no breeze whatsoever, and you just say to it, if there is somebody here, then make the candle flicker, because it's the easiest energy they can do, but there must be no windows near or anything. Now, I did that at a psychic party, and God's honest truth, I'm laughing now, the candle exploded, and it hit the ceiling, and the girl went one way, I went the other way, and we found out that the girl had moved, and it was her brother. And at the previous house, he was on the mantelpiece in a picture, and she'd put the picture away when she moved, and he didn't like it. And that was his way of saying, I'm still part of the family. Do not ignore me.
Interesting. Well, we have a gentleman in chat that is looking for a reading, but before we get to John's reading, Merlin wanted to know your thoughts on poltergeists.
I've had experience personally in my own home here, and poltergeists tend to, well, I'll give you my own personal experience. The poltergeist I have a teenage girl, and when you're going through puberty or menopause or depression, your energy, your aura changes. And anybody walking outside, ghosts are everywhere. So spirits are everywhere. They can link onto you. They can just grab hold of the energy and come in. And it had come in with my daughter. And things started off slowly and little, like a door opening here and CDs flying off. And then it really picked up energy. And you can always, with a poltergeist, there's a sensation that you can hear like old furniture being moved, like a sideboard. And then it got to the stage where when I was babysitting, I could see him at the, he was kneeling down, crouching, looking at the baby. And I grabbed hold of the baby and said, you're not having her. And then my daughter had got bruises on her wrists, her neck, and her ankles. And that's when I knew that I had to cleanse it. And the way that we cleanse it here is that you pour pure salt into a container and fill it full of water. And it has to be left covered for 24 hours. And then you literally have to take everything out of every cupboard. And you have to spray, I said, the Lord's Prayer in every room, in every cupboard, every nook, every cranny. And you start at one door, you spray it on the outside, and then you have to work your way through till you get to the other door. Then you get to the outside, and then you spray around it on the outside. But it took me a weekend to do it all. It was horrendous, very frightening. I wasn't frightened for me, but when I saw my daughter with the bruises, I was frightened of what this guy was capable of. So certainly I feel that they are capable of hurting people. I mean, I've had scratches. I had a gentleman come today who we went into this place to clear it for the lady that was being molested by this spirit. And we were physically pushed and pulled because he didn't want us in his house. And I left the room and said, right, okay, leave the room. Let's just break away from it for a minute. And I came back, and he's a builder. He's a medium, but he's a builder. And he was sat rocking on the end of the bed, holding a crucifix, saying the Lord's Prayer. And to this day, whenever I think about it, because I'm only 5'2", and he's a big guy, you wouldn't mess with him. And he was rocking in fear of this guy, because I don't think he'd ever been physically assaulted by a poltergeist before. But I thought it was incredibly funny myself. It's wrong to laugh, but that's my sense of humour. I do have a really
well, we do have John West, who is in our chat room, and John is just kind of looking for a kind of a genetic reading, but he was looking for some insights on his career. He's a writer, actor, presenter, and he's looking for some insight either on his career or also some insight on his future love. Apparently, he didn't have a date for Valentine's Day yesterday.
Well, Valentine's Day wasn't good astrologically at all. It was either one way or the other. And it was really be around friends. It wasn't the Aquarian moon isn't a very good moon for relationships. I do feel that this guy is ready to settle down, but I do feel as though I'm going back to, I don't want to say childhood with him, because it is showing me here that I've got emotions going way, way back. This would either be as a child or his first relationship that really hurt him. And in some way, he compares to the past. Do you have his date of birth?
No, we don't have it. John, if you want to post your date of birth in the chat room, it'll take a few seconds, and because we are on a little bit of a delay. And again, this is Tina Marie. I'm filling in for Leo Bonomo, where he's having little internet issues over there in the UK. But never fear, we're still going to have a great show. So, John, put your date of birth, if you could, into our chat room. And why John does that, let me ask you, Catherine, this real quick. What is your take on these people who use the Ouija board to channel spirits?
Oh, no. I don't use them. I mean, you have to be incredibly, you have to secure everything. You just don't know what you're going to get through. You're opening up a portal, and you're asking for somebody to come through. And somebody may come through who it sounds really nice. But, if you're a dark entity, then you can actually give the wrong, it can actually give you the wrong impression of who you're dealing with. So you think you're dealing with somebody nice, and it's actually not. No, I would say, you don't know what you're messing with. You really don't. Strangely enough, the date of birth that I've just received here is October the 3rd, 1967. The gentleman that I read for this afternoon was actually the 9th of October, 1967. Generally, when I'm doing readings, it always follows a pattern. So the pattern today has broken the pattern that I've had for the last week, but we are on a new moon, so it's not unusual. With this gentleman that I've got, he is actually 7, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. He's a number 9, so he is the creative and the dramatic. So this would be somebody who would help absolutely anybody and usually get dumped on from a great height. Writing is very particular. One of his lessons is actually to learn patience. The year that this gentleman is in at the moment is in a year 1. It's a year of new beginnings, so trying something new. When I look at the cards that I've got for him, it is showing me here that something's not quite clear at the moment. Yes, I see a relationship coming in, it would say within the next, this is either 20 weeks or 20 months that I've got here. But I feel as though I've still got a little mountain to climb, and I don't feel it's with regard to relationships. I feel it's with regard to your career area. I feel as though either something's not clear at the moment. I feel as though I'm needing to retreat, to look at things again, and then I need to be more focused on where I'm going. I would also say to this guy, just watch who you're dealing with in business, because they're giving me the snake, which means trust. So as I'm looking at your date of birth, you've got a Pisces energy. So again, same as this guy, you're Pisces with Libra. Okay, so your Libra in astrology, your Pisces numerology, 8, 16, 17. Your biggest lesson is with you, you don't let people know that anything's wrong. So if I said to you, hi, how are you? You'd say, oh, I'm fine, nothing's wrong, when actually things are wrong. I do feel your emotional line is completely closed down. So again, I want to go back to early childhood. It could be abuse, it could be sibling rivalry, parents got divorced, somebody died when you were young, but there's something here that I want to go to way back. And just as I said now, when I add up what's not in your date of birth, it is giving me a total of the 1, which is to be more focused in where you're going. So taking charge, having courage, going in a different direction. In a global year of new beginnings, because he's still in the energy of 2017. But I feel as though it's something to do with his writing or his career, that if he's not let something go, he really needs to sit down with a pen and paper, because something needs to go. And that will bring him back in full control. When I take away the 9 is the number that he is. It's a very Pisces energy. And it's a very creative and dramatic energy. 3, 5s and 9s tend to work on stage or write or draw or direct. The main negative is the 1. His emotional line is completely closed down, so that tells me where we've got the childhood trauma coming in there. But when you take the 1 away from the 9, it leaves you with the 8. So his overall biggest lesson is to learn to manage money, learn to manage people, not press that self-destruct button, but learn when he has to walk away. And if he's not walked away from something, then I really feel this guy needs to sit down with a pen and paper on what needs to go. There's something within the next 6 weeks that will come clearer to him, but I almost feel as though I want to go within myself. I'm reflecting what I need to do, where I need to go. But certainly in a year of new beginnings where his negative is the 1, that he needs to be more focused, I would say ask for help from somebody. Sit down with a piece of paper and write down. But again, I want to say to you, just be wary who you trust in the business. They are showing me a commitment ring coming in. They are showing me settlements. So it's between, I would say, the next 9, this is 9 weeks, 9 months to 20 months, I would expect him to be in a relationship. And in fact, once he gets to his birthday, just as Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, he will be going into the relationship year. So I would expect you to be in a relationship by the time that you get to your birthday next year. And a very creative phase for you is when you get to 2020 to 2021 is where your creative aspect, so if you're writing or doing anything, then that's when I would expect you to go forwards. But again, I keep getting that I'm taking you back to childhood. Either somebody died when you were young, or there's been a divorce, or there is something that goes back to childhood, that you shut your emotions down. And I do feel there's a trust issue within relationships, whether or not you trusting that you can trust that person. You may have been cheated on before, or there's a trust issue as whether or not you're good enough. for that person. Certainly there's a trust issue to do in work, but also in relationships. And it all goes back to where I want to take you back to, either the first relationship that hurt you or even childhood. But it is showing me two birds on a branch. So when they show me that, there is someone coming in. So with that, it's quite a positive reading. I just feel I need to feng shui. Okay.
Well, John, I hope that helps you. And Catherine, how can they get a hold of you if somebody wants their own personal reading from you?
If they want a personal reading from me, it's quite simple. It is www.KTKeely, so it's KATIE, KTKeelyPsychic.co.uk, or I'm on Facebook under Katie Keely, and it's there's 3 pages. So because I work on television, obviously I have a lot of people around me. So it's the page where you are looking at me at the television studios. I'm sat down in the television studios, and the profile picture is me in a grey and white top, and that was last year's birthday. So I don't know why I changed it to that one. Normally I have a more professional photo, but at the moment it's changed to that one. So it's where I'm sat in the studio is the page that they should go for. Or www.KTKeelyPsychic.co.uk or KTKeelyPsychic.com. So they can choose, really. And I mean, I do a live feed every morning on what you've heard today. I do a live feed Monday to Thursday, 10 o'clock our time. So your time is when you get up, the astrology is for your day. So you can catch it later on. And it's all free. That's part of my path. My path is to show the world it can be a better place, and to spread spirituality in the way that I do it, which is through honesty, truth, and love. And
they can go right down there and on your Facebook page. I tell you what, if you guys did not get enough of the show today, you need to go to our Facebook page. You need to go to her website, get more information from her, tune in where she is so you can get your own reading. And John is extremely happy in chat with that. He thought that was great. So you nailed him as we knew you would.
I have to say with him as well, and with the gentleman that came today, he is 95% of people that are being drawn to me at the moment, where they need to be more focused, and they are being drawn to me to confirm what they already think, but they don't know that I know, and that they have to take courage and they have to move forwards. And it's a new moon, and now is the time to do it. But 95% of my readings are this at the moment, and it's where I can take you back to childhood. You may be reflecting on a positive or negative way, but it's stuff coming up from childhood at the moment. That's perfectly
well, Catherine,
normal.
It has been a pleasure to have you on Leo's show. Sorry we couldn't connect with Leo. Like I said, he's having a little internet issue, but it was awesome to hear you speak. We got to get you back on very soon, because I think the listeners really enjoyed your take on spirit, your take on the numerologies, astrologies, everything. So thank you so much. Again, everybody, go down to Kate Keely's website as well as Facebook page. Go check her out. Leo will be back next week, hopefully, pending any kind of solar flares or any weird things in the air on the Voice of Spirit. This is Tina Marie from the Kcor Digital Radio Network, filling in for Leo. Guys, stay tuned. Got some great shows coming up tonight. The American Ghost Hunters exploring the bizarre, and as always, stay true.
You've been listening to Leo Bonomo, the host of The Voice of Spirit. Live every Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the Kcor Digital Radio Network. For more information on the show, guests, and host of The Voice of Spirit, or to book a private reading, please visit leo-bonomo.com. That's leo-bonomo.com. Your connection to the other side is just a phone call away. The Voice of Spirit.
It is amazing, is it not?
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51. Wait, that doesn't exist. This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.